Greetings everyone, my name is TheAdipose and welcome to my beginner's Hearthstone tutorials, and today we're continuing to look at some of my favourite decks. Now, it's the 18th of March 2016 and this is a common deck which is around at the moment, and it's for Priest, which isn't a very popular class at the moment. And this is a deck which is by Titan HS. It's been around for a couple of months and it has been very successful. I've enjoyed playing it a lot. It's one of my favourites because I do like a bit of Priest. And it's got quite a long title. It's known as the Excavated Evil Elise Priest, or if you prefer, the EEE Priest, or the E Priest. It's a control deck. Now, these tutorials I'm doing are for beginners, so I'm going to be kind of explaining what these kind of terms mean. Now, a control deck, if I head into my collection, I'm going to show you the deck first, and then I'll show you it in the game. A control deck is designed to remove your opponent's threats early on, remove some of your opponent's threats in the middle, and kind of stabilize, meaning start to take the board in the middle, late game, and then win the game right the way at the end. So we're going to play very, very slowly, and in the early game, we're literally just going to be trying to remove your opponent's stuff and maybe draw some cards. So what we're going to see in a control deck, and as we'll see in this deck, is three main things are going to be coming up. Four things. First of all, you're going to see ways to remove your opponent's cards, and I'm probably going to miss some, but flicking down, we've got things like we've got the Cabal Shadow Priest to steal their stuff. We've got Excavated Evil, hence the Excavated Evil deck, which deals 3 damage to all minions. We've got Shadow Word Death, Shadow Word Pain, etc., etc., etc. So we're going to be removing stuff. Secondly, we've got card draw. We need to be able to get to a lot of cards to be able to keep removing our opponent's minions. So we've got the Northshire Cleric, we've got Power Word Shield. I can't remember if there's anything else there, but these cards will help us get through our deck quicker to get more cards. Third thing we've got Taunts. Sludge Belcher, 2 of them, and Deathlord, 2 of them. These are there to slow down our opponent, to protect our face through those critical early to mid turns, while we try to stop our opponent's game plan before coming in with our own, which brings me to part 4, which means we have to have a way to win the game. And often in a control deck, you'll see 2, 3, big, powerful cards that can kind of win the game on their own. So common game ones you see are things like Ragnaros or Yazira, Cenarius maybe, the big expensive legendaries that you spend all your kind of dust on. So those are the 4 things we're going to see in this deck: the removal, the draw, the taunt, and what's known as the win condition. That's what it's talking about, the way you're going to win the game. Now, what's different about this deck is the win condition is unusual, because what we've got 2 Entombs, which is choose an enemy minion, shuffle it into your deck. So what you do is you kind of wait for your opponent to play their win condition, or a really big card, or maybe just something that you can't deal with it. You entomb it, which adds it to your deck. You get lots of card draw using various things, so you draw their win condition and you play it back against them. So you kind of steal their win condition. The other thing we do here is we play Elise Star Seeker, which if you own that card and played all the way through it, what it does is towards the end of the game, it will convert any cards you've got left into random legendaries. And so what happens is you use all your cards to remove their threats. Once all their threats are gone and we're kind of scrapping around for the last few cards, you then convert all of your cards to legendary minions, and hopefully in there you've got something to be your new win condition. So that's how it works. And let's take it into a game. We'll deploy the deck and I'll show you how it works. So here we are, deploying the deck. Now I'm using the Hearthstone deck tracker here. So you guys will be able to see my deck down the right-hand side during this whole match. Now, what you've got to do when you play a control is it's so important to look at your opponent and see what class they are and try and think about what might be coming at you and, kind of make choices based around that. Now, we're against a priest, and the chances are that the priest is going to be playing relatively slowly as well. Sludge Belcher is going to be a bit kind of slow. So if you were going against a very fast aggro deck, like say we were going against a hunter or perhaps a warlock, I might be tempted to keep both zombie chows because it will fight with his early minions early on. But as it is, I'm going to throw one of them back because I'm going to make the decision that I think he's going to be playing a little bit slower as well, and therefore I'd quite like to get some different cards in my hand to deal with whatever threats he might have. And this is actually looking like really, really nice now because we've got something to play on turn 1, something to remove what he plays, something to buff that what we've got here, and a taunt. Now, the trick when you're playing a control deck is to play it like a control deck. We are not an aggro deck. We are not a mid-range deck. We are not going to be trying to win this game on the very first 4 turns of the match. So we need to play slow. We need to not fall into the trap of rushing. Now, we've got a problem here because he's played his lovely card draw card. He's hoping to... this looks to me like he's playing control as well because he's played a card draw card here. He wants to ram into here, heal this up, and draw loads of cards. Now, I can remove it. But this one isn't a threat. It's a threat because it draws cards, but it's not a threat in and of itself. But I don't think there's a lot we can do, so I think we're just going to have to hit that. What we can do next turn is put Veland's Chosen on this and then destroy it, but it looks like he's going to draw at least 1 card out of it. So looking down some of the other ideas, the other kind of cards that we've got here, with what I was talking about in the deck check early on, is everything kind of fits either into one of those categories of removal, or of our win condition, or drawing cards, or slowing down our opponent, which is the taunts. Now that's interesting. He didn't decide to hit and heal. He decided it was more important to him to build up. So this is where we do a little bit of maths. So this has 3 health. If I put that on it, it's going to have 7 health. If these 3 things attack together, that's 3, 4. So I think this is all right. So I could actually kill this straight off, but if I do, the death rattle will trigger and it will heal. It will push the health on that. So I'm going to kill that one first. Now this is on 4 health, 4 attack. Now 4 attack is an important number against Priest because he finds it harder to deal with cards that have 4 attack. A Shadow Word Pain is 3 or less attack, and Shadow Word Death is 5 attack or above. So he finds it tricky to deal with cards with 4 attack. He has to deal with them with the minions on the board. And by playing that card, it looks like he wants to keep that alive. And it looks like he wants to keep going. Now I've got a choice of plays here, and this is what's nice about control decks, is you have choice. I could just play my Death Lord. I could play my Death Lord, put down the Cleric. I could play the Cleric and heal, which would draw me a card. I could Shadow Word Pain this, which would also get rid of the, which kind of then goes 2 for 1. Which is actually quite tempting. Well, annoyingly, what I can't do is play this and heal. I think I will get rid of this. And I think I will save my Cleric for a point when I can draw a card straight away. Now, it's always a big decision on turn 1 when you play Priest, is if you've got the Cleric, do you play it? And it's one of those rules of thumb that if you don't play it, then you shouldn't play it, and if you do play it, then they'll kill it straight away. You can never win, but theoretically, there's some good things with it. Now, what I'm going to do here is I deliberately didn't heal my minion the turn before, and I did that because I wanted to play the Cleric this turn and heal it up now with the Cleric down to draw myself another card. I do have options though. I can taunt. I could put down Elise, but I think at this point, as he has put down no threats, getting cards in my hand is the most important thing I can do. I'm putting a bit of pressure on his face, but my goal here is not to win with what I got on the board. But it will, if they keep hitting his face, it will eventually cause some issues. But remember, we are not an aggro deck. We are not a mid-range deck. We are a control deck. Stand ready. So we need to out-control our opponent. That looks quite nice for us. So all we're looking to do here at this stage is, again, draw cards and control his minions. So this thing does 4 attack, this thing's got 4 health. I'm just going to hit it. I've got no reason to rush ahead. I'm going to heal here, and then I've got a choice. I can protect it with a taunt, I can put out Elise. Now, I don't really need to protect this. This isn't a particularly valuable card, So I'm going to play out Elise. I didn't have to. I could actually just leave it, but it puts a bit more kind of pressure on the board. And more than putting pressure, it's not the pressure I want. It's the fact that it enables me to deal with whatever he puts down.
I have no time for games.
Better. Now we've got some nice choices because we can put a taunt in the way. We can entomb. We can power world shield, etc., etc. Now, remember what I said? We don't really have a win condition in this deck. We don't have a Ysera. We don't have a Ragnaros. So the two win conditions we have are we steal his, or we use Elise to turn all into legendary. So the choice here is really do I entomb this to make it one of my win conditions later on? There's not really a way for me to steal this. So I don't have a Shrinkmeister in hand. I could put a taunt in front of it to slow it down.
Quickly.
But I'm not really sure how useful that is. So I think I'm going to go with option 1, which is entomb. Now the downside of that...
Get back!
The downside of that is that now I don't have the entomb. And remember what I said in control decks, you often see most of your deck, or I might not have said that, but I definitely thought it. In control matches, you often see most of your deck. And since he's playing control as well, he's going to see most of his. So what you kind of got to think is what other cards is he going to have in this match, and how am I going to deal with them? And we've just used our entomb to deal with one of his threats, which means we don't have that entomb anymore. Do you see the kind of long-term planning here? So if we've used entomb to deal with his Sylvanas. So when he plays Ragnaros or Ysera later, how am I going to deal with that? Do you see that? That's the kind of thinking there. So I need to be careful about what I kind of hold back, and sometimes it's better to sacrifice your minions, because I could have killed that using minions, sacrificing minions to go with this. Now again, we're looking to clear his board here. I think the Shadow Madness looks like fun here, because we can just steal it and ram one into the other.
Face the light.
Which deals with both of his threats very, very nicely. Now the question is, do I play out a taunt? Do I heal? I think healing is probably more important. And if I do heal, do I heal me or do I heal this? I do have another Northshire Cleric, so having an injured character around is potentially useful. So I'm going to heal, and I'm going to put out the Chow. The Chow's there to increase the amount of damage I have on the board. So I did have 7, now I have 9, which again gives me more options for killing his. Again, the damage to his face is nice, but I'm not looking to win the game at this particular point. Here's his circle of healing, all of his board clears. And he's healed up loads here. Now that doesn't really matter. It's a bit annoying, but it doesn't really matter, because that's not what we're trying to achieve at this point. We're simply trying to deal with his threats. And I think now is a good time for us to put out one of our bigger minions. So when you're thinking, it's like, what's the role of each of these cards here? The role of that is to protect on the minion and to slow him down. The role here is to slow him down. He's got nothing on the board, so we don't need to slow him down. So it comes down between these two, which then means Shadow Control Priest, Cabal Shadow Priest. There's nothing there for me to control. Now, you won't always be able to steal something with a Cabal Shadow Priest, so that doesn't mean that that's the wrong one to play. But I think here, Justicar is the way to go, because by putting him down, it converts our hero power. And it also puts a bit more kind of pressure onto the board and gives us more attack to deal with his minions. Now, the ideal turn with a Justicar, well, no, ideal is the wrong word. One of the possible turns you can do with a Justicar is hero power, play Justicar, hero power. And you can only do that on turn 10, because obviously that's 2 plus 6 plus 2. And so you can only do it on turn 10, but it's a really, really nice play. Now, this is when I wish I still had the entomb, because if, remember the problem we have with 4 attack minions? Now, the other way I could get this is if I drew my Shrinkmeister, I could actually steal his Yazira, which would be amazing. That's probably not going to happen. So how are we going to do this? The problem is, the longer we leave this alive, the more uber cards he's going to get.
I wonder.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We can do 11 damage to it. That's not bad. I can't kill it. Actually, no, that's a lie. I can kill it. I can play Excavate Evil.
Disqualified. Get back.
So let's do that. So we're going to lose all of our minions here. Oh wait, no, we're not. If I make any mistakes with these matches, you know, you do shout at me in the comment section. But you can see again how this deck works in terms of, you know, removal. Now, one of the downsides of what's happened in this match is he is now ahead of us in terms of cards. And one of the really, really important things to do with control decks is to be ahead in terms of cards. Now, one of the nice things, though, is that we can, when he plays cards like that, is that we can just steal it. However, we should probably curate it first to see if we get something we would prefer to play. So we've got no secrets, so that's pointless. Stalag is decent. Gives us more kind of pressure on the board. And the Yeti obviously is very powerful as well. Now we're way past turn 4 here, so I think we can afford to go for the more expensive card, and I don't really want to risk giving him a spare part. So I'm going to go for Stalag, and then I'm going to steal his Deathlord, and then I could heal, but I'm not going to. Of course, he's a priest as well, so he may well steal this one back. When you end up kind of control versus control, it's normally a case of the person that controls the best wins. Oh, he's dreamed me. Why would he dream that card? That would also be a nice Entomb. Ah! Hello, Entomb. Wait. Before we play, we have plenty of time. Is that the best play? I could put a taunt in front of this. The problem with playing against priests is you can't really know how many cards he's got. Supposing he plays Ragnaros and something. I've still got a Shadow Word Death. The big threat he had was Yazira to the priest. So if he plays something really big, I can Shadow Word Death it. If I can get some of these bigger attack minions on, that'll work nicely. So I think Entomb is good against the Shredder. And then I can put my Deathlord down again to protect these slightly more kind of vulnerable minions down there. Now, unfortunately, now we need to realise that both Entombs have now gone. So everything else we are going to deal with. Ha-ha! There's nothing else we need to deal with because he's dead. So there we go. That was the excavated evil Elise priest. Try it yourself. Read the guide. I'll put the link to Titan's guide in the link, and I hope you enjoy the deck. If you've enjoyed the video, then do subscribe and please hit the like button. You've been fantastic, my friends. And you know what? So was I. Goodbye.